From 1996 until 2001, the Taliban essentially controlled Afghanistan. During that time, women were treated brutally. They were also not allowed an education nor allowed to work. In the years since, there have been some improvements in women's rights. A perspective on that now from Semin Qasmi.
There are changes in terms of women's rights in Afghanistan. I think it's worth mentioning that women in Afghanistan had made really irreversible gains in the last 17 years. Women had developed confidence and like power, resistance, and we have seen this in this election, seeing them coming out of their houses and going and voting despite of all the security threats. So they know, and they would demand for their voice to be heard, and they would remind the power holders that their perspective matters. And I think these are all positive changes that we see in terms of women's rights and the progress in this country. There are actually many provinces. If you go to the rural areas, there are a number of schools open. You would see kids going on with their, girls particularly with their black uniform, white scarves, even in some very far parts of the country. So the number of girls going to schools, of course, have increased compared to if you go back, 10, 15 years back. So that's a very positive change that we see in Afghanistan. To just give you an example of the recent few months ago, the tent sit-ins by women, like in some very conservative provinces, like those provinces are considered very conservative, and women went and sit in tents alongside men, demanding ceasefire and demanding peace. So we do see some really significant changes. But I think that's not enough. And usually we see, unfortunately, these progress limited to some really big cities and provincial centers, while there are certain parts of the country, for part of the country, where there are women who have not experienced any change to their normal lives. And that means that the job is still not done and a lot needs to be done.